Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Common Sense Warriors. My name is Reiner.
I'm Lyle.
And today we have an awesome guest. We have Taya Docksteader of Remax Lifestyles.
Yes.
Thank you for coming onto the show, Taya.
Thank you for inviting me.
Taya.
Hi.
I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Have you now?
I've known Taya for about a year, but I know very little about her. So
That was an evil laugh, by the way.
I can, yeah.
most people are like, yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want. But Taya's like, she'll tell you what she wants you to know. And my job as the interviewer, I'm going to try and find out some stuff about Taya, what makes her tick. And
She doesn't want anybody to know.
she doesn't want anybody to know certain
Yeah.
things. And so it's we'll
right.
see what we can do.
You ask the right questions, I'll just answer. Right?
and we're not going to talk much about real estate.
It
No.
is what it is.
Yep. And it's real estate in Vancouver is kind of a, I mean, we could talk about the report that just came out and all that other stuff. But Taya, let's just talk about you. So
Alrighty then.
Taya Docksteader, she's with Remax, which
Lifestyles. It's
Lifestyles
in Walnut Grove.
okay, in Langley, BC.
Behind the Sandman with the Denny's.
Oh, okay.
That's important, apparently.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
across
there's
from.
two. So
But it's no
Yeah.
short of the Remax offices out there. So,
there you go.
so Taya, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where you're from, what makes you tick.
What makes me tick? I'm basically, I am what I am. I'm kind of a hippie chick in disguise. A lot of people see me out there, my coiffed hair and all this stuff, but this is actually what my hair looks like.
I notice a Mac jacket behind you.
Yeah, it's pink Mac jacket.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Pink Mac jacket. I'm not I can be, but I'm not and I own 70 pairs of shoes, but you'll see me in the same shoes all the time.
70 pairs of shoes.
70 pairs of
Are you like
shoes.
that?
I like-
Marcos.
I love my Coach bag.
Okay.
I love purses and shoes. They look really good in my closet. And I wear European walking shoes most of the time. And but I'll switch out my bag, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty low maintenance. Like I
Okay.
like really nice things,
Yeah.
but not a lot of them.
Okay, so you like to have a nice closet full of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like them to be there. When I travel, I always take way more than I need because I want choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I end up using the same 2 or 3 things.
That's pretty much the way
Yeah.
life is, isn't
Yeah.
it? You have to get all this stuff, and then, but so Tay, you're a realtor in Langley. Have you always been from Langley, or? Are you,
No, I haven't. It's an interesting story.
lovely. Let's tell.
Yeah.
Do tell.
I was born in, and you'll hear when I speak about where I'm from, I get a little bit of an accent,
Mm-hmm.
and then it disappears. I'm from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia.
Oh.
And we left there when I was about 7 because the tin mine and the cotton mill all closed in the same year. So a lot of people just left.
Yeah.
And our family had been there since the 1700s. On my phone, on my dad's side, I have my genealogy. Cousin worked for a genealogy company, and I can go back to 1022 BC.
1022
Wow.
BC.
Yeah.
In
On my dad's
obviously
side.
Great Britain then, or the UK.
My mother,
Yeah.
her family landed at Plymouth Rock. Started
wow.
off in Massachusetts, then went up when they were giving away free land in Nova Scotia and went there. But it's sort of, I'm sort of like even coming to BC, it's all the same immigration pattern because people came over, and then when there was no work, people left. What's happened there, and I go back every summer. What's happening there now is the women stay and the guys go out onto the boats, or they're all up in Fort
McMurray, yeah.
Fort McMurray, right? You can go up there and get an Eastern meal. We have soup. We put dumplings in our soup, and you can get them up in Fort McMurray.
One, there's direct flights WestJet from
Mhm.
Gander to Fort McMurray. Not usually a really high risk or high traction route, but now apparently it is. So.
Yeah. Well, they send you the guys. They'll send you home. It doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah.
They'll send you home.
Didn't WestJet just sell? So that may
Yes.
change.
That may change.
Well,
it's
they're paying
it's
good
still,
money for the fares, so it's always sold out. So
Yeah.
And the one thing I do know about the air industry is that empty planes don't make money. So
Right.
if the plane's full, they'll fly you wherever the heck you want to go.
Yeah.
As long as they can fill the plane, they don't really care. You can
So
have-
I go back every summer. I save up all my points.
Yeah.
Smart thing to do, get a credit card that gives you travel points, use it to pay your office fees, then you get a free trip home every year.
There you go.
And it's a lot more expensive to go to Nova Scotia than it is to go pretty much anywhere else in the
Yeah,
world, isn't it?
yeah. Tickets are about $800 return. Yeah, so
To go to Nova Scotia.
from Vancouver to Halifax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to rent a car.
Yep. Then you have to rent a car, and then you have to drive. Because I was born at the end of a 300-mile road with a ship on the other
The
end.
Cabot Trail?
No, I go the other way.
Oh, the
well,
other
there's
way.
two. You can go the long ways around, take you around the South Shore,
Okay.
or you can go straight down the middle.
Oh,
So
okay.
scenic, not scenic, depends if a cousin lives here or a cousin lives there, and I cross over, and usually takes me 5 to 6 hours. And I stop to get Oxford blueberry ice cream. on the way
Oh.
here.
What's that? Is that some-
Oxford blueberries are the best blueberries in the entire world, and they
Okay.
make ice cream. So that I plan my trip and I stop and I get Oxford blueberry ice cream.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
They sell Oxford blueberries, so frozen
Yeah.
in the stores. So if you see those compared to the other, even though you want local, those are the big juicy
The
ones.
big juicy ones.
Mine are this big in my backyard.
Yeah, those are.
Reiner will tell you this are the best in the world, but.
There you go.
No, they're the best in my yard.
So at 7 years old, you moved to BC?
Well, we went. It's actually kind of cool. We went from Yarmouth to Truro. My father was an artist, and he was two kinds of artist. To put food on the table, he was a sign painter and painted trucks and all that kind of stuff. And the other part of it was he was sought after. Princess Margaret came to Yarmouth, and Dad painted her portrait, and it's now in Ottawa. So, he was two things. Being an artist's child, you get a sense of adventure. It isn't like your dad goes out the door at 9 o'clock in the morning, comes home at 5. What was I, about 11, staying up all night while my dad wrote drew a parchment. I have it for my mother's birthday, and we stayed up all night, and it has doves and curlicues and calligraphy and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing that where other kids were like
Sleeping?
sleeping,
Yeah.
and I was up, painting the side of a truck, at 11 years old. So 8 years old, washing my hands with Varsol. So it's I had an interesting life. An artist's child, it's feast and famine.
Yeah.
Week of cabbage soup, because that's all you had. But then the next week you're eating steak. It depends on where the money came in, right?
Mhm.
So what I learned from that is I'm extremely adaptable. I don't cry because I couldn't get my nails done. And I can transfer that then to my business, to my clients. Okay, let's figure this out. There's a way to do it. There's no such thing as a big job, just a whole bunch of little ones.
That's
Break it down.
That's a great way of looking at things, especially for being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, and being an artist and the feast and famine, a lot of entrepreneurs are feast and famine. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you do, you could sell tiddlywinks or,
Yeah.
widgets. If nobody's buying your widgets, you're not making money, you're not paying your bills.
Yeah.
So,
You just got to figure it out.
so you went from Yarmouth to Truro.
Yarmouth to Truro.
Okay. And then
And
where?
then we went to Enfield.
Okay.
And so those are little towns further making our way north
Yeah.
to, but the train goes out of Truro,
Okay.
I think. Yeah, train goes out of Truro. And we stayed there for a while,
Mhm.
and then to take the train for 5 days, right? So this is where I kind of go, okay, how much do I tell these guys and how much do I not?
Well, you're not telling us, you're telling everybody on the
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
watching.
I don't want a pity party, right?
No.
Something happened, and during that time,
Mhm.
I don't have any memory of it. I've got a really big scar in the back of my head where my head was split open, and I was gone for 5 days. And I showed up eating an ice cream cone.
So they don't know where you went?
Don't know where I went, nothing. But my head was cracked open, and I was covered in blood and blah, 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 blah. Having absolutely no memory of it.
Huh.
You know,
Wow.
obviously your brain goes and, protects yourself
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just went on.
Huh.
But I have a huge, huge scar and a bump right there.
You weren't abducted by aliens or anything?
I may have been.
That's
You know,
kinda crazy.
I may have, mind you, I have had an MRI, and they didn't find any little, things in my neck. So,
They have better technology than our
Yeah,
MRIs.
aliens
So.
are-
oh, that's
They
true.
can make
That's
stuff that you're
true.
not
Yeah.
gonna find, man.
But
Yeah.
again, that experience
Yeah.
made me resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
right? It just added to the portfolio of being resourceful. Luckily, I have no memory
Yeah.
of it, but at the same time, I get it done. You pick yourself up, move on.
And you were how old?
I think it was six-ish. Six turning 7 maybe, somewhere around there.
Wow.
How'd your parents react?
I don't remember there being any reaction at all because I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't remember anything. My mother wasn't she's a lovely, lovely woman. But my parents weren't big huggers. We were all very cerebral.
Mhm.
So, it is what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ever want to go and try and find out what
Well, I'm an
happened, or-
artist.
Yeah.
I'm an artist, so I have a picture in my head, one little memory, and I could draw it. Could draw this person
Mm-hmm.
that I have this fleeting memory of, but he's dead. What am I supposed to do? Go and find his family?
So, yeah. So obviously there was something that happened, some sort of
Yeah.
trauma, and you don't,
Move on.
and you don't have no desire to find out, or just
No, and it's not. All I would do is cause trauma to someone else
Mhm.
because this person is obviously long gone.
Mhm.
And what am I supposed to do? Go to their grandchildren and say, "Oh,
Mhm.
Grandpa was a bad boy,"
Yeah.
and destroy their lives? No, what for?
No, it doesn't. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly.
So, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's interesting though, and the fact that you have no desire to really find out exactly.
Why?
But that's a huge thing, and I noticed that with people that are entrepreneurs, business people, like the victim mentality doesn't exist.
No, I am not a victim
Yeah.
at all. But it has made me more of an advocate. I don't like injustice.
Right.
And I will be the first one that steps in and
Mhm.
says, don't do that.
Yeah, and that's an admirable trait, and that
I
comes
hope
from
so,
that
yeah.
comes from having gone through adversity and be an advocate for people that are.
Yeah.
But that's a huge thing, and it's so counter to what everything is in our society right now. Is like it's the race to be the biggest victim. So
Mm-hmm.
and we've talked, and that's part of the reason
Yeah.
why we created this podcast, and it's kind of evolving into different things. But it's amazing when we go out there where it's like everybody's a victim, everybody's
Not me.
a social justice warrior for whatever reason, and we were like, well, there needs to be common sense, and there needs to be
Yeah.
like no more victimization of themselves.
Mhm.
And unless you identify as a victim and something like that, you don't get any of the benefits or the accolades or whatever. And the silent majority of what's out there are people that are not victims. Reiner,
Yeah.
what do you?
I don't need any
Like,
there
absolutely.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, like
The victim mentality is the easy road,
right.
Mm-hmm.
and that's the problem because it
Yeah.
is the easy road. And
Oh, poor me.
Yeah.
Poor me. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Pick yourself up. Brush yourself off. There's nothing you can do about it.
I've got a lot
Move
of
on.
poor me's. I do.
So
Whatever.
do I.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Whatever.
But it helps me deal with. And I was probably, in my own head years ago, I was probably a victim in my own mind about certain things. Oh, this happened to me, and that happened to me, da, da, da.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy to get caught up in that stinking thinking.
Yeah.
And that was probably the lowest part of my life is when you get caught up in those stinking thinking
Yeah.
things. And the fact that it happened to you so young and to pick yourself up. So now you're on your pick
I have a
yourself up.
steel, as far as I'm concerned, I have a steel core. But the steel core is not for me.
Mhm.
The steel core is to be there. Like, they say behind every, great man is a great woman, right?
Yeah.
Well, whoever is there, I'm that the buck stops,
Yeah.
pick yourself up, let's go, move on, and this is how you fix it.
Yeah.
And if I can't do it, I'm going to find somebody that can.
Yeah.
Right.
So they found you after 6 days, bleeding from the back of your
Everywhere,
head,
back
and-
of my head, like everywhere. I had no clothes on and I was eating ice cream.
Wow.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
And this was in Nova Scotia.
This was in Nova
Truro?
Scotia.
Okay.
Truro, Enfield, yeah, they're very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure,
Okay.
right? And we didn't ever talk about it, right?
No.
No,
Hmm.
because
Back then, you didn't talk about
you
stuff
didn't
like
talk
No.
about
You
that.
did not talk
No,
about that.
you're done. Take a bath. Move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. And push it deep.
Stuff
Deep
it.
Yeah,
down.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff it down there.
Yeah.
So then you went on the train?
We went on the train for 5 days.
How was that?
And it was 1967 when Expo was going on. So it's really cool.
Oh, Montreal, yeah.
Yeah, so we had to go halfway. So my dad had already come over on this side, and my mother was traveling 8 months pregnant with 3 or 4 kids. Can't remember what it was. When we stopped in Montreal, all I remember of Expo is the giant Ferris wheel. I saw that in the distance. And this man gave my mom a giant bag of candy and said that we were the most well-behaved children he had ever met. Because my mother kept us busy. We, read, we were huge readers. So we read and we, where are we on the map and following all that stuff. We never, that's one little, I don't have tolerance for people that leave their children like on a plane and they're running up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your responsibility, give them something to do.
I don't think you're the only one. I think that. I think there's
But I will be the one that will take the baby from the single mom and say, okay, you know what, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, get yourself together and stuff. We're fine, right?
Mhm.
My sister's exactly the same way. She was on a bus once with he was 18-month-old nephew, and it's in the middle of the night. She's going on the bus in rural Alberta, and he's screaming his guts out because he wants to play.
Mhm.
And the bus driver came back and said, can you calm down your child? And he's standing there all nice and happy and she says, well, what do you want me to do? Knock him unconscious? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
he's here. Don't like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was doing her best.
Mhm.
She was doing her best. And then it's sort of the same thing. Do your best. And if somebody else is inconvenienced, suck it up.
Exactly.
So how in the heck did you end up in BC?
Well, my dad had originally, and that goes, I'll tell you an interesting story. My name
Mhm.
is Taya, Taya. There's no N in it. My sister's name is Tanya, Taya, Tommy, Tamara. And my dad at the time, because his parents died when he was 12 and 16.
Mhm.
So he's the youngest son of 5 sisters.
Oh.
And never picked up a broom in his life. So he came, one sister was out here and she was a real estate agent on the island. So he came and stayed with her, and she was friends with Peter and Taya Bogart, who had, Bomac and all the car dealerships in downtown Vancouver. That was one of them. Taya's actually still alive. She's 96 or 97 or something. Like Peter's gone. If I'd been a boy, my name would have been Peter, because they treated him so well
Mhm.
that he named his first child. And that's how I ended up with this unusual name that now there's tons of them, but at the time I was no Wendy Jane,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, interesting. Well, my daughter's name is Taya, so that's
Well, I know, isn't that seriously cool?
that's
Yeah.
kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you come to BC, and then your dad's an artist out in
Well, we
BC.
were on Vancouver Island. We
Okay.
went to Port Alberni. My dad was able to partner with a sign painter there, and he started painting. And that's another, painting windows. I can do Merry Christmas backwards, from painting on Christmas windows. And it was the sort of thing. He just didn't go out to work. It was like, we need this project done. It needs these many hours, these many fingers. I have 2 brothers who couldn't draw a stick.
Yeah.
But if you do the outline, they can paint the inside.
Okay.
So we just did it as a family, got it done. We won the prize one year in Vancouver for the best Christmas window, because my dad put paper on the outside of the window and then painted Santa's, I can still see it in my head, Santa's workshop with all the elves and doing all this stuff and things, and it took the paper off, and I think it's in the Vancouver Sun somewhere, right?
Cool.
But like I said, 9 to 5 was not my life. It was the projects, and that's what I live now. It's project. There is a beginning and an end, and you fill the middle.
And what kind of projects are you doing right now?
Well, I am a director for the board for the Chamber of Commerce. I have property on the Sunshine Coast, so I'm in that neighborhood association. I'm a Soroptimist. Google it.
Right now?
SOR Optimist.
Okay.
It's a international women's group benefiting women and girls. We have a seat on the UN. It's to help, basically the big picture is to stop human trafficking and female genitalia cutting and bullying. Big picture.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Small picture, we feed all the kids at Douglas Park School breakfast every morning. Right? We give bursaries to kids girls going to university.
Nice.
Buy bus passes for rural girls to be able to come in, blah, 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 blah. Right? I do my thing.
So you're empowering women to...
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That does more for young people, I think,
Yeah.
than anything else. Like, teaching these kids to empower themselves, to get them a bus pass. Like, okay, so transportation, like that's we take that for granted, driving cars everywhere, but a lot of people don't have the ability to even...
Well, in my family, myself and 2 brothers are the only ones that drive. My father started going blind, which is another reason why us kids all started helping, because he could still draw it out, and then I came in and would finish it, and then whoever had the least amount of talent then was doing the filling,
Mm-hmm.
and you just did it as a family, right?
Right.
So how did you get involved with this Soroptimist group?
Vera Ward. Vera Ward is a Grant Ward's the city councilor. His wife was a Soroptimist,
Okay.
and my husband, hung with a few people in the city and stuff, and you kind of know their wives, and you go to all the charitable things and blah 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 blah. So she said you would fit really well in here, so I went.
And
That's it.
And what's your role with Soroptimist right now?
Soroptimist, I'm in the social committee right now, and I'm next year's secretary.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm also secretary for a new thing that's happening called Safe Haven, and it's for, the race horses that have the little carts on them.
Yeah.
Well, those horses, it'd be nice for them to retire. But we have the Amish come up from the States and they buy them and they put them in front of their carts because they walk that way. And then, so I'm sorry if I scratch myself here. They walk that way, but then they don't let them retire. They then put them behind a plow and they work them until they're dead. So I'm the secretary for that because why not?
Because you have so many hours in the day.
Yeah. Sleeping is overrated.
Sleep is. I do sleep. I do eat, but and I'm NASCAR crazy. I record, all the practices and the qualifying and the races and stuff,
Wow.
and I multitask and do paperwork at the same time as I watch that.
And so you were a race car driver at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us?
Might have gone around a circle or two.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us about that? How the heck do you get involved with that?
Well,
the daughter of an artist.
Yes.
Gets
Well, it's opportunity.
Okay.
All that is opportunity. Being in a certain place and you go, somebody says, do you want to jump out of a plane? Well, let me see. Is the opportunity there to do it?
Are you asking me?
No. But my brain automatically goes to, okay, well, which are my charitable event things? Can I tie into this to be able to get money? Like right now, my thing is, I'm sorry if I'm going off on a tangent here, is I'm buying a cello.
Okay.
Okay? Because the only way I escape and turn it off is if I go to a country where they don't speak English.
Okay.
And when I go there, I don't talk to people that speak English.
Mm-hmm.
I hang with the staff. I hang with people who don't have this life because of where I go, I'm recognized, right?
Mhm.
It's a very Canadianized little resort that I go to in Mexico, and people recognize me down there, so I don't talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a girl down there whose mom works really, really hard, and if she doesn't get a cello, because she's had a long story short here, if she's too tall for the borrowed cello that she has. So I'm taking a cello down. I won't be taking any luggage with me. That'll be my luggage. I'm going to shove stuff in my sister's suitcase and just wear whatever I can fit in there, but I'm bringing the cello.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's $1,000, and I've just been kind of going around and, a little bit here, a little bit there, give me $20. And, I'm going to take this cello. That's all there is to it. Nicole at the UPS in Walnut Grove is going to help me wrap it up, and, it's just going to happen. So, and that's kind of what I'm like, is like, it's just going to happen, right?
Small doses of kindness.
I don't like that.
Really? You don't like the word kindness?
Where they say that, you do a random act of kindness. That's self-absorbing.
Okay.
That's look what I did, right? This is all about if this girl who lives in a third world country does not have the opportunity to express herself on this cello and be able, she plays in an orchestra. If she does not have this cello, she is now, and there's nothing wrong with it, a server or a chambermaid or a comforter.
Mm-hmm.
This is the world she lives in.
Mm-hmm.
So if I, living in this country that I'm in, can bring something to stop that process and put her on a different path,
Yeah.
because I can't bring another pair of shorts, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Right on.
So, where were we?
So
Back-
we're talking about
back to
racing.
racing.
That's a cello for race car drive.
That's a little diversion
Yeah.
I knew you were going to be a fun interview.
Yeah. Racing is my passion. Everybody says, how can you watch racing? They just go round and round and round. Well, let me tell you, there are 11 tracks, and there are one of them that has 11 or 12 corners.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are shaped the same, and there are good guys. Who's your favorite race car driver? There are good guys and there are bad guys, and I, of course, cheer for the good guys, right?
Who are the good guys?
Let me see. Jeff Gordon forever and ever and ever. My favorite race car driver, his last name is actually Kennington, and you'll never, ever, very rarely hear about him, but he's a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's usually at the back of the pack, and I'm cheering him on. Chase Elliott, my dream is to meet, of all people, Michael Walter. I don't know why, I just find him hilarious.
Okay.
And it's one of those things, because I go a million miles an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that stop my brain. Going down to a country where I have to struggle with the language, and it is my responsibility to speak their language. It is not their responsibility to try to learn English so that I can understand them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go down there, I'll say, solo español, por favor.
Mm-hmm.
And they make fun of me because I try, but I will eat whatever it is you bring. If I said it wrong, that's what I'm eating.
That happened to me once.
Yeah.
I ordered a cheeseburger and I got a fillet of fish. Like, I'm not really sure how that happened. I eat my fillet of fish. I've never had one. It's like, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's not quite on the same level, but whatever.
But I record the qualifying, the practice, and it's basically like watching a soap opera. This one banged into this one in this race, and it shuts it off.
So Danica Patrick, is she NASCAR?
My hero.
Yeah.
She was NASCAR. And because of, it being a soap opera, I, of course, don't like Ricky Stenhouse, because that was her boyfriend, and didn't ask him to marry her, and now she's dating some football guy. Yeah, whatever. It's my little soap opera that's there, and yeah.
I would never have thought that NASCAR was like that. The only, I watch it once in a blue moon. but it's
Well,
not.
you have to watch the entire year because
Yeah.
it literally, you watch the story. This car smashed into this car so that this one could win because of what happened 2 races ago.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But it's just, it shuts it off.
And you were an actual NASCAR, or you were CASCAR, or were you
CASCAR.
CASCAR? So that's the Canadian version
That's
of NASCAR.
Canadian version of it. But I was in a bad accident. I barrel rolled 3 times. That's where the ends are here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the car turned this way and went this, like this, like this. And so I'm driving, window here, and this arm went this way. And I turned. So now the muscle underneath my shoulder blade has a tear about that big going this way. That's where I did the MRI. And it can never be repaired because the incision will be bigger. So this arm is always weaker and sore and blah, 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 blah.
And so that was the end of your CASCAR career.
Yeah.
How did you do?
I was pretty good. I'm a bit ruthless.
No.
Why is that not surprising?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, it's my racetrack. Get out of my way. If you're not as fast as I am, move over. I will move you.
That's, again, you've come from adversity. You dealt with.
Yeah.
And not 1 second have we heard anything about poor Taya, poor Taya, poor Taya. It's nothing about that. It's about moving forward. And
I have 2 hands. I'll just move the bucket to the other one.
There you go.
Right? Yeah.
And that's, I think that, and that's really one of the things we were talking about this before is that, you know, being a victim in our world is a really easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Overcoming adversity and overcoming.
And
what
I
you've gone
don't,
through.
in my head, it's like not overcoming. It just happened.
Yeah,
Move on.
that's a great way to look at things.
Yeah, move on.
Now, there's a scar on your hand.
There is a scar on my
So
hand.
that is not from the CASCAR accident.
No, it's not.
Okay, so what is...
I decided one year that I was going to spend a winter on the Alaska Highway, Mile 456. And I got a little job up there, you know, working in the liquor store was a shelf above the door that had 4 bottles on it. There was, you know, I made bread and I chopped wood and I lived in a little trailer and, you know, it was kind of cool. I worked 4 days on, 4 days off, 12-hour shifts. I would cross-country ski across the lake on my days off. I had a 30-30 lever action rifle that I had to use to go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
I had a dog called Brutus that was bigger than me. It looked like a small bear. And a cat that I tried to walk. He didn't like that much. And
So you're in mile 456 of the Alaska Highway.
of the Alaska
Which
Highway.
part is that in Yukon?
That's
then?
Muncho Lake.
Okay.
Muncho Lake. It's above Toad River and below Liard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of in there, right?
Yeah.
I was in on my days off, and I was washing dishes. And I stuck my hands in hot water and do not stick your hand inside of a glass. So I stuck and I turned, and it split open. There was no gushing blood or anything.
Mhm.
So I grabbed and held my hand like this, and then realized I was inside of a place with a doorknob, and I couldn't open the door. So I kicked the door and kicked the door and kicked the door until it opened.
Mhm.
And then I had to cross across a field to get to the nearest, because neighbors are like 7 miles away. So I crossed over to the other side, and there was a lady there. It's really cool. The early 1950s, the highway was built.
Yep.
And all the American guys came up there. And there was a lady that followed them in her 1956 baby blue Cadillac. And Betty still lived up there. And I radioed the ranger, and he came down and he was drunk. I thought, and Betty couldn't see. So I was basically 250 miles from everywhere. So I sewed it together myself with my left hand and my teeth. And there are 4 stitches in there. And Betty said I was screaming, but I don't remember screaming. It was done. And for about 3 or 4 days, I had bottles of hydrogen
Peroxide.
Peroxide.
Yeah.
So I would just every night I'd soak my hand in the hydrogen peroxide, and the finger works. Everything's there,
Yeah.
right? And then this was the tough one. It's kind of bristly there, and then I just used nail clippers to cut the stitches out.
So
daily.
bush surgery.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was really cool up there. There was, if you ever see the postcard there's an Aboriginal tribe that was up there that never had a treaty, and there are two small children that are running around in this postcard, and they're Rosie and Elsie. And their kids married people, guys from the highway, and went away and stuff. They still lived, well, they're probably past now, but they lived up there. Rosie slept inside, and Elsie, or could be vice versa, slept outside until it snowed. And the way they made their living, and what I learned from them, was the European hunters would come over, and they were only allowed to take back the cap and the horns. You can't take back the head.
Right.
So their heads of the moose would have to be boiled. So this is what they did, and they got to keep the meat, and they got to keep the skin. So they taught me how to boil moose heads, and like all the guts and brains and eyes and everything all float to the top, and blah blah blah. And you get the horns, and out you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned to do that from them, right? And they would make mucklucks, and then when I would drive every 2 weeks into Fort Nelson, you'd see them sitting on the side of the road with a little fire. You'd stop. No, they didn't speak English. And you'd show on your watch, at that time you wore a watch, what time you're going back. Mm-hmm. And they bought orange juice, beads, and chocolate. And then they would go back up, and they'd make these beautiful mucklucks that smelled, from the fire that they did. And then they sold them in the different stores that were out there, right? So that's part of my adventure. Yeah. It was an opportunity that came. I saw a little tiny ad in a newspaper, I don't know where, asking for somebody to come up. So I did.
Wow.
And I did it for a winter. It was from October to April. So it was minus 52 is the same temperature, whether or not it is Fahrenheit or Celsius.
Yep.
And if you touch anything metal, it goes zzz, it's like electrical shock.
And you don't know minus 52, or you're actually in minus 52.
Yeah, no, you don't know minus 52. There was a weather station up there. We had to take the weather every year, every day, and blah, 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 blah. So it was just a little.
And you went up by yourself?
No, I went up with a former husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So like a husband and wife adventure.
Yeah.
Well, I think Canada is really naive to think like we've got a lot of country up there, and it hasn't changed that much up country.
We were above the tree line.
Yeah,
above the tree line, and it was. I saw a lunar eclipse up there in the middle of the woods, 250 miles from anywhere.
Yeah.
We turned off every light, and that's something that nobody else is ever going to see.
You have no idea, and I worked up in Alaska, so I know what it's like up there. I did a week 3 weeks up there, and it was definitely a different world up there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can drive for hour and a half and not see another car on the highway, even oncoming.
Yeah.
So when we're like, it just moves at a different pace. It's like, and you judge distance not by miles, but by time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
people would come. One lady would drive 40 miles just to come and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah. But they wouldn't consider it 40 miles. They say, I got an hour's drive to go to 45-minute drive to go see Taya
and
down the street.
When you're going on the highway, like going back to Fort Nelson, people would wait.
Yeah.
Because those were your neighbors in the yard or Toad River or wherever that they would, you'd see along the road. And you'd go, why is it? One guy broke his leg.
Yeah.
And I saw him going the other way. And I'm like, why is he there? And then as soon as I get back, it's the gossip right up and down the highway. You know who does what and stuff. But that was just another little adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Took an opportunity, saw it, and thought. And that's the difference between a lot of people. I leap. A lot of people will go, oh, I'd love to be able to go up in the Alaska Highway and do this. And I'm thinking to myself, and why not? I'm the head of the social committee for Seroptimists, right? These are older ladies than me, and they'll want painting parties, and I'll say, do you want to jump on a plane? Do you want to go up to Grouse Mountain and go on? Like, do you want to do something different?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, why not?
Oh.
I'm this age, like right now.
I'll jump out of a plane. It has to be on fire, though.
Does it? Yeah. Well, I have no desire to physically go out, call the place, say I want to jump out of a plane. But if the opportunity comes up where maybe that's the lazy side of me.
No. There's that is like things happen for a reason, and you're letting life unfold on its own terms, and that's a huge thing. Yeah. Is that everybody tries to control life? They try and control everybody else, and you have no desire to control anybody.
No.
You just let life unfold and figure out, and you just go where and let the chips fall where they may, and that's probably part to the fact that you had an artist for a father. Yeah. And not conforming to everybody
else.
You just kind of go with it, and that's a really cool way of living your life, and that's why you've had such experiences.
Yeah, well, see, I've kind of been. There have been moments in my life where I've kind of been. I don't want to use the word jealous because it's not really. It's something where I saw a girl. It had been 20 years since I'd seen her, and she lived in the same house. She had bought her parents' house. She married the guy down the street. She had 3 or 4 children. And that was her life. And for a split second, I was like, but then,
now you look at where you are. So I have one more question, and then I'm gonna let Reiner loose on you.
Oh, thank you.
What is your biggest challenge facing you right now in your world, and then what is some of the challenges that you've overcome? So right now, what's the largest challenge you've got?
The largest challenge is it's now May, and since last May, 11 people have died in my family. An entire generation just disappeared. And I got left with, and this is not, victim whatever, I'm still trying to figure it out. I got left with people that are unable to care for themselves. So I've had to adapt where I live, because at my age, I could be living in a lovely luxury condo overlooking the ocean, eating my chocolate and watching NASCAR and going blah, 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 right? No. No. So I have a house that I've rented out reasonably. I divided it up so that people could afford, right? I've got a lovely family renting the top part of my house, and the reason she got it is because her daughter is named Taya. Because she walked in the bedroom, she goes, "Mom, look, here's my room." Because I had my office, it had stuff all over it with my name on it. So I thought, okay, you get it. She couldn't afford it. So I have a garage, and I said, well, if I rent the garage out to somebody else, can you afford the top? And she said, yes. So my carpenter guy, and I use the people that are in my stable, I call them, are older, experienced, but when I call, they're there because I will make sure they get paid. Nobody's chasing anybody for money, right? So he rents the garage so that this girl has a family and can be in there. And then there's a lovely lady in the bottom. And then I go back and forth between, where I'm rebuilding a 100-year-old cabin, making a handicap accessible so that people can be in there. But at the same time, they're needing something to do, so I'm going to grow red Russian garlic. Why not? And it's popular and it's good and blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm figuring it out right now, so I'm just figuring it out. It'll be fine.
That's a lot of people in a short period of time.
Yeah.
One about every 3 weeks. One in about every 3 weeks. All of our parents, my mother. This Mother's Day was tough. This Mother's Day was tough, but I'm fine.
Well, Reiner,
I think we're gonna move on from that one.
We're gonna let you off a little bit easier here. This is more fun.
Okay.
This is more fun.
All right.
So we do have a speed round coming up.
Do you now? I love it.
Lightning
Okay.
round.
It's a lightning round, and I'm just going to ask you some questions and just answer quickly. The top of your head. Don't think too much about it.
Okay.
There are probably no wrong answers.
All righty.
There's no wrong answers.
Okay.
If money is no object, what car would you own?
I would own a SS Nova, 1967 to 1969, but I want the inside modernized. I just want the outside to look like it is. Yeah.
Very nice. Love that answer. How long does it take you to get ready?
20 minutes.
Excellent. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or white chocolate?
Milk chocolate.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
1950s, only because I want to go and look where my parents met, which is a really cool story.
Nice. Who inspires you?
My little sister. She is the high maintenance, girly part of me. So I don't have to be that because she's right there. She travels with me. She does. I say, "You're going to Mexico." She goes, "Okay." And then she can do nothing. She can't hold the tickets. She can't do the money. She can't nothing. She'll sit there, put me on a beach, give me a margarita, and I'm good. That's my girly side.
That inspires you?
That inspires me. If I can keep her happy, then, but at the same time, she's my little rock there.
Nice.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
13 and a half.
Modesty.
Modesty, yeah.
That's why I don't. That's why my car's not wrapped. Why I don't have my name on my car because I've had to do some race car maneuvers. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I totally believe it.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Well,
With that ends our speed round. And Taya, I really want to thank you for being here. It's been a lot of fun. And
for me too.
We're going to have you back again down the road because I think there's a whole lot more we can talk about. We only got a little bit out of you.
I did my best to try and get as much. I learned a lot about you, Tay. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I know it probably wasn't all fun and stuff to talk about, but that's what we're here to share is the journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and the adversity that we've had to go over.
Yeah,
so.
the human side of entrepreneurs. That's who we are.
Cool.
So another one in the can. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all later. Have some common sense.